The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center just released its 2014 complaints list with almost 270,000 complaints. Total losses topped just over $800 billion. For everything cyber-related, we now bring in attorney and Bentley University professor Stephen J.J. Weisman. Nice of you to join us.
Always good to be with you.
$800 billion lost to cybercrimes. Does that shock you at all?
No, actually, the shock is on the other side, because if you read the report carefully, you'll find out that that estimate is actually on the low side. These are the amounts of losses that have been reported, and they estimate that it's probably 10 to 15% more than that. It is the biggest worldwide crime problem that we're facing today.
Now, you just mentioned that the losses are probably underestimated. The report says only 15% of the nation's fraud victims actually reported what happened to law enforcement.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
You know, a lot of the times it's people are embarrassed, particularly when it comes to seniors. There may be seniors who find themselves a victim of some kind of a scam, and they're embarrassed, thinking that this is just one more indication that maybe I've lost or I'm losing some of my cognitive abilities, when in point of fact, anyone can be scammed. You look at the victims of Bernie Madoff, you look at all kinds of scams and cyber crimes, and it can be anyone. So I think we need to both raise awareness and also to do a much better job of preventing, educating, and sharing information.
Who do you think is more likely to be a target? Or are we all at risk?
It's interesting, because there are certain groups, interestingly enough, for very, very sophisticated financial scams, people who are educated are usually the biggest victims. Seniors are often very much targeted. Young people in their 20s and 30s, and college students in particular, are targeted in cyber crimes and scams generally. So it's across the board.
Now, the Wall Street Journal says that the IRS is getting into cyber crime prevention. What can they do to aid the FBI?
Well, for one thing, what we need to do is, and I applaud the fact that the IRS is making these efforts. Unfortunately, they're really not going to have enough agents on this. They're not going to have enough support. One of the biggest things, and something that is costing taxpayers around the country billions and billions and billions of dollars in fraudulent identity theft criminal returns, where these hackers, and we have hackers in Eastern Europe who are gathering information, social security numbers, ready for next tax season already. What happens is the bad guys get the social security number, they file a phony, dummied up tax return online, and they get a refund. And the IRS is not doing a good job of stopping that. And one thing they're not doing is they're not comparing the W-2s and 1099s that are filed with the phony returns with the real ones filed by employers. They don't do that until July. So a simple change of the law to require employers to provide those W-2s and 1099s to the IRS at the same time that they file them with the Social Security Administration would go a long way towards reducing that crime.
Well, until those changes happen, real quickly, what are some of the top 2 or 3 things that you would say we need to do right now to protect ourselves?
You know, the biggest thing, we as individuals, protect that Social Security number. That's the best thing you can do. The second thing you can do is file early, because the earlier you file, the sooner you get your return in. These phony, dummied up identity theft returns, which can be devastating, they can only work if they file before you do.
All right, Stephen J.J. Weisman, thanks so much for joining us here on Newsmax Now. Always good to have you. We want to mention your website, scamicide.com. You have your scams of the day always posted on there. Your recent post mentioned a cyber attack on the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. So we'll have to check that out. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.